From the late 1980s through to the 90s, it was the age of the hefty supersport machine. Mounting powerful 10+cc engines in equally sizable frames and bodywork, manufacturers competed for big bike presence on the road and the highest top speed. In that sense, these motorcycles and how they were used were closer to today's sport tours. Ample power and space in the saddle were the main criteria riders looked for. Yamaha's flagship entry in the category was the YZF 1000R Thunder Race, with the YZF 600R Thundercat as its smaller sibling in the lineup. At the time, a Yamaha development team was working on creating the company's next supersport model. Instead of being bound by past projects or the latest trends, the team sought to rethink and redefine from the ground up what a supersport bike should be. They decided to move away from the trajectory set by the Thunder Race and instead build a machine purely emphasizing lightweight, slimness, and compactness, as the pursuit of these three elements when building motorcycles had been an unwavering principle at Yamaha Motor since its founding in 1955. ZZ1000R Thunder Race, 1996. Rewinding the clock a bit further, back to 1985, Yamaha set the motorcycling world alight by developing its first four-stroke supersport machine, the FC750. The machine's five-valved DOHC engine with downdraft intake was mounted in the frame with a forward incline toward the front wheel. The aim of this unique arrangement was to enhance the sense of unity between rider and machine, chiefly by lowering the bike's center of gravity while increasing the load on the front tire to generate clearer front-end feel. This idea of designing the engine and chassis as a single integrated component was called Genesis, and it is a development ideal that remains part of Yamaha today. The FC750 was a textbook example of a lightweight, slim, and compact supersport machine, and it was highly competitive on the racetrack, taking a fantastic win at the 1986 Daytona 200 just a year after its market debut. The momentum established by the FC750's success later grew into the racer replica category, ushering in a thrilling period in which full-on race bikes were developed alongside their street orca counterparts in Japan to compete in the new Superbike class that replaced the Formula TT class. The FZ750 evolved into the FZR 750R and then YZF 750R. It was from here that 10cc supersport bikes branched off to become their own category. The SV750 in race trim at the Daytona 200 in the mid-1990s. The idea Yamaha had for its next supersport machine was neither a spacious leader-class model nor a racer replica. This bike would be a lightweight, slim, and compact supersport with excellent handling, rideability, and traction. The core concept for this new motorcycle and its envisioned characteristics was excitement, and development began with the goal of creating the fastest machine on twisties and secondary roads. The man leading the project had previously developed Yamaha's two-stroke race bikes as well as the YZF 750R race bike, and the technical requirement he focused on was creating a layout with the same engineering freedom afforded by two-stroke race machine. The four-stroke engines of the time were longer compared to the naturally compact design of two-strokes, a disadvantage the team faced in trying to create the ideal chassis performance. This was because four-stroke engines until then lined up the crankshaft, main shaft, and drive shaft in a straight line horizontally, inevitably making the engine itself longer. The project leader was insistent that the engine development team come up with an alternative layout. But this presented an enormous challenge, as it meant they had to essentially abandon long-established engineering conventions. YZF R1, 1998 clay model. However, the engine development team put their heads together and devised a way to arrange the crankshaft, main shaft, and drive shaft in a triangular layout to make the unit shorter. The resulting engine turned the design standards of the time for supersport power plants on their collective heads. The team had found a technical solution to overcome the conflicts presented by having a short wheelbase and a long swing arm. This delivered not only agile handling, but also marked improvements to chassis stability when accelerating, braking, or cornering. The exterior form of the bike also broke away from the long and large style and racer replica looks of the time. The machine's performance and functions were reflected throughout the bodywork, from the front end to the tail light, taking on the persona of a toned, well-trained athlete instead of a muscular bodybuilder. Furthermore, it departed from racer replicas that put functionality above all else and cast aside anything playful or decorative, instead opting for a sleek, high-quality look that encouraged affinity and fondness from riders. Part of this change were the prominent, glaring twin-eye headlights, which would go on to become a quintessential part of R Series design language. While employing technologies from racing, the new machine was not actually intended for racetracks. It was a supersport bike meant to be the fastest ride on twisty and secondary roads. Then at the 1997 Tokyo Motor Show, the machine was finally unveiled to the public as the all-new YZF R1.